Welcome students in the online classes. Today we are going to study about the reproduction in animals. So the process by which living beings give birth to their young ones are called as reproduction. And in other words, we can say it's a biological process in which new individuals are formed or new offspring are formed or produced from their parent, and they acquire some of the qualities from their parent. So children, reproduction we see in both plants and in animals. So let us take the example of reproduction in plants. So there are two type of reproduction in plants, that is sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. Let us see with the help of this hibiscus flower. So sexual reproduction takes place in hibiscus flower, and you can see the male gamete which are found in the anther, which contain pollen grains, are transferred from anther to the stigma. Stigma is a female part, and then they fuse and then form a new individual flower. So this is a way of sexual reproduction. So children, it is an example of asexual reproduction in plants through their vegetative parts, or we can say vegetative propagation in potato. So this type of budding you can see in potato, this type of budding, and this bud give rise to a new potato plant. So it's an example of vegetative reproduction or asexual reproduction in plants. So children, reproduction are of two types. First is called as asexual reproduction and second is sexual reproduction. Let us study in details with the help of these pictures. So children, it is an example of asexual reproduction in animals, and the first organism which we are seeing is protista. So protista reproduce asexually through binary fission, in which from a single parent daughter cells are formed. From one single parent, the individual, the offspring form. So this is a type of asexual reproduction in protista. And the next example which you are seeing, students, are example of amoeba. So amoeba also reproduce asexually, where a single parent is involved and its nucleus divides and forms the two offspring, which we call as daughter cell. So this is also an example of, it's also an example of asexual reproduction in an animal. So amoeba also reproduce asexually. So asexual reproduction, in which we have seen there is only involvement of one parent takes place, whereas in sexual reproduction involvement of both male and female gametes takes place. Okay, so both the cells are required for sexual reproduction, and male and female fuse together, means their gametes fuse together, and then they give rise to a zygote, and zygote develop into a new individual. You can see in this picture. In human beings, reproductive system is highly developed. So a male organism produce sperms and female organisms produce ovum. Thus, male sperm and female ovum produces zygote. Zygote develops into a young one. So in this way, this type of reproduction takes place, which we call as sexual reproduction. So children, in the next class we will be studying about types of fertilization, that is internal fertilization and external fertilization.